Oh my goodness. So, lots of questions about compost. How many of you are familiar with composting? Oh, we must live on an island. Yes, we do. So, how many of you actually compost? Wow, I'm proud of you. I'll tell you why I like the title about God's compost is because every time I get something I know nothing about, it is so wonderful because I get to learn all about it in order to do a talk or a message. And I just love the metaphor of this composting. And it was interesting because one of the questions is, it says, composting as a metaphor for repurposing the smelly, messy parts of life into sweetness and growth. Amen. Who gave you a line? Wait, hold on here. So that's right. That's where we're at right now. Taking it. But there is something about it because I was telling Rita, I said, when you really look at a compost heap, well, it does smell. And even though I don't particularly have one, but there is a smell to it. But listen, I looked and I went, that is such a representation of sometimes the smelly things that go on in our lives. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Don't be afraid to talk about smelly. I mean, there is things that are happening in life, and I'm sitting there, and this is what I found, though. I was so proud of myself. Here it is. Oh, first we have the ingredients, right? And that's the leftover, well, I'm not going to give you all of the list because I don't remember them. But I do know that it's like vegetables and banana peels, and I even saw paper. There's something to do with paper. You can put that in that heap, right? And then, I'm like a little kid. And then what I love about it is that just takes a couple days to get that all settled in. And then it heats itself. See? These two they're going like this. He actually did do his homework. And for what my thing is, the ingredients are life's experiences, right? You're putting them in there and look what happened. And some of it's good, some of it's like, you know, why? And then you put it in there, and then spirit goes to work. It's like, just like a treatment. Starts heating it up. You don't know what's going on there. You just know it's heating on its own. It's like this, just like spirit. When we go through things in life, we sit there and go, I'm not sure why this is happening, but it's going, but I do. And the heat is going. And then this is a great part. Then you take a moment, not to pull anything up, but to move it a little bit, right? Take it out of its stagnant place. Like our lives, sometimes we got to move it a little bit. But if we keep staying there, then the heat comes in, and what it really needs is oxygen. That's what we're doing. We're stirring it up so that it can get more oxygen so it can do what? Become new soil. Or this one threw me a little bit. Hummus? Not the hummus that like I eat with dip. Oh, good. Okay, I was all the way there till I saw hummus and I went, hummus. Anyway, but just think of how I said to myself about this. Things can look really messy, can't they? They can look really messy and not make any sense at all. And then you get these wonderful words by science of mind, ministers that say everything is happening, the universe is conspiring in your favor. But it smells. I mean, it smells. And you're going, how can that possibly turn into a garden of the sweetness and of the growth that I am and that we are? So I got very excited, as you can see. But what Spirit does too is what I like it is there's no waste. Nothing gets wasted with Spirit. Everything is utilized, even if we don't understand why. And so this week, I'm not going to tell you the story, because I wouldn't depress you like I depress myself. But no, I'm saying that something happened this week, and I said to Rita, if I had a God that lived outside of me, like on a cloud, which I don't, I have that power that lives within me, I would have thought this week, if I did believe in that God with the beard and everything, was going, let's play a little game on Patrick. Let's give him some stuff to figure out, shall we? Let's do that and see how he handles it. And what I found out is that, well, I failed the first test. That's okay, failed the first test. And the first test is, not reacting. You ever been there? Not reacting. And don't be sitting here looking like you have halos all over your head, because let me tell you something, you know what it's like to react. So, and then we want to respond. And I'm still trying to figure out how that heap is going to turn into something wonderful and beautiful in my life. And I had to start looking for the gifts. Have you ever done that? Look for the gifts in why something is happening. And I'm going to tell you something. I consider myself pretty much a holy man. And, no, I'm kidding. And I'm going to tell you, I had lots of doubts. And I said, where's the gift here? Where's the gift? And the gift is this. Sometimes the universal flow pushes us right to the little edge that we have been procrastinating on. You ever have that in your life? I'm going to put that off until I really know what's really going on. That's called fear of the unknown, right? I want to know what's going on. And I found out this week, it was shocking, that I did not have control over everything. Wow, was that an eye-opener? I went, wait a minute, I can treat, I can do this, and then this is going to happen. The heap is still here. How did that happen? So there's a wonderful quote by Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching. It says, "The very substance of spirit is forever taking form, and forever deserting the form it has taken. New forms are always being created, and old forms dissolved." And what I found is that this compost, there's lots of things that just need to be discarded. They need to be discarded because I will never find the new. I will never find, and as we were talking earlier with one of you wonderful people here, this idea about us needing to be fixed. Well, here's the deal. We don't need to be fixed. But I do know that I need to fix my thought process. I do need to fix how I look at things. I do need to look, and I do need to fix that idea of wanting control. That idea that I want control over myself and everything that happens in my world. And it's not a punishment. I found that out this week too, another gift with what was occurring in our lives. It wasn't a punishment. There is a lot of wonderful things happening out there. I want to share a story about a beautiful young lady. I was telling somebody on Friday about it. So I went out running. I haven't been running in a while. I've been kind of walk running. And it's really been hot. And it was probably about 8:30, and I just got this universal spiritual, oh, let's do it. And I said, well, you better take it while you got it. Let's go. So I'm like running and I'm running. Well, I'm going to say I must have looked a lot worse than I actually felt. Because this young girl comes up next to me and she's running like that. And she goes, hi. I go, oh, aloha. And she goes, she has her water with her. Would you like some of my water? And she had that look on her face. Would you like some of that water before you keel over? And I was like, oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. I was like, thank you so much. I said, but the water fountain's right over there. I'm going to be getting, that. Because I drink out of water fountains, by the way. So I go over there, and when she left and I started walking, I thought, there's a message here somewhere. This beautiful young girl did not know this man, and she offered me her water. And in this day and age, somebody offering their personal water to you, to a stranger, and you drink it, it ain't happening. And if it does happen, they're probably going to throw it away. Because people are a little bit, I don't want your stuff, and you don't want my stuff, and it's got. But where the thing is, I said, there's good in this world. And I went on that path. I started telling everybody that story because I said, while we're sitting here focused on the people that aren't doing things very nice, no names at this point, they're not being what we call nice. I'm thinking, we're continually composting, and we're trusting. Oh, that was the other word I learned too this week. When you don't have control, what do you got to do? Trust. Who created this teaching? But it's the absolute truth, though. I had to trust, and I'm still doing it, but I had to trust like I have never trusted in a long time this week. I had to really say, I thought, this is so great when everything is unfolding perfectly. It's so good to be strong, right? You bet. Spirit's got your back. You bet. And then when you feel like nobody's got your back and that there's nothing around, you start doing that internal panic. What if I was wrong? No, I'm kidding. That's not what happened. So I was telling someone today, too, that I am so grateful for the foundation that I have in my life. That the conditions of my life, even though they can rule me at times, they are not my God. There is one power. They're not my God. And I realized, you know how much I learned this week? Why did I even pay all that money in college? I should have just, God last week. But I learned that not only do you trust, but the universe is working in my favor. I can feel it. And sometimes the hardest lesson for me this week was, what do you want, Patrick? And they're not my gods. What do you want? And I don't need to be fixed because I came here perfect, but I did some programming along the way that was given to me and I also allowed. And so now, the smell, it's gone. Guess what's in its place? That beautiful, fertile soil that we get to put down right now that we call our life. Aren't you proud of me, a guy that never composted? So I will leave you with this question and a little quote to take with you. What is it in your compost pile today? What scraps of your story are you ready to let it be repurposed? What's in your compost pile? I just shared some of mine, but what scraps of your story are ready to be repurposed? And then the antidote for everything is gratitude. Gratitude. And it says, I said, invite the community to see every experience, even the smelly ones, as a sacred compost. And this will be the quote you take with you. It is so delicious and so tender and so sweet. Out of the stink of decay, isn't that pretty? Out of the stink of decay, the fragrance of life arises. Life arises. Namaste.